So today we're going to talk a little bit about how Hitler's going to really have his control and authority over Germany. Okay, with the Hitler Youth Organization we're going to talk about, and then moving up until Kristallnacht, which we'll talk about tomorrow. All right, so bell ringer, just review. Describe Hitler's rise to power in Germany. There we go. Hitler's rise to power in Germany. So there's a lot to this. So I'll give you some time to work on that. How about 3 minutes, maybe 4? 3 to 4. Tom's like, I know this. We're good to go, right? How are you doing, sir? Good. All right, I'll give you another minute to finish up here, and we'll move on. All right, so let's go over this. I want to give you enough time to, well, I got a video to show you, and then a reading, short reading, promise, just short. It's not too long. Ethan, are you upset about that? Haley, come on, really? It's informative. It's a good one. I think you'll enjoy it. Oh, okay. All right. So describe Hitler's rise to power in Germany. So let's start with the very beginning. All right. What happens here? So we discussed and went over Stalin, right? We went over how he came into power, what he tried to do with the development of the Soviet Union at the end of World War One. Then we got to Mussolini, right? Okay, two totally different political ideologies, right? We have communism, we have fascism. Mussolini leads a coup and overthrows the government and establishes totalitarian dictatorship, a fascist government, right? And he uses that by the means of the black shirts, strong nationalists. Okay, then we get to Germany. So how does Hitler do it? How does Hitler do this in Germany? Jakari?
Uh, he gains the people's trust and becomes the chancellor.
Okay.
And then
Well, before that, though, let's start off before that.
he goes to jail.
Oh, okay. How does he go to jail? There you go.
Wasn't he like protesting or something?
Yeah, so he tried to pretty much do the same thing that Mussolini did, right? He tried to leave this rebellion against who? What was the government in Germany? You got this. You got this.
I don't got it.
You don't got it? Haley, go ahead. Yeah, the Weimar Republic. Good job. So he tries to overthrow the Weimar Republic with a group of his supporters, which are a part of this Nazi party. Okay. At this time, they're called the German Workers' Party, right? But later just kind of turned into the Nazi Party. Good. All right, good. So he leads this group of supporters to try to overthrow the Weimar Republic, and he gets thrown in jail, right? He gets thrown in jail.
I just spelled out
What?
Weimar.
I thought I put that up. Weimer, and then Republic. All right, good. Good job. So then he tries to overthrow the Weimar Republic, thrown in jail. Then what happens in jail? What does he do in jail that's this really going to propel him in his political career? Jakari?
Book.
Yeah, what was the book called?
Mien. Yep.
Chris? Mein Kampf. Yep, good job. Mein Kampf. And what does that translate to?
My struggle.
My struggle. Good job. Good job. So while in jail, he decides to write a book, and it becomes a bestseller after he gets out of jail, and people are writing plays about it. It's almost like a story of the origins of this new Germany, this strong sense of nationalism that's really inspired by this book, and gains so much support and popularity of the people through this book. And My Struggle, he wrote about what? What did you write about? What did you write about, Lance?
About like pretty much his vision for Germany.
Yeah, what was that?
Being a strong nation, taking over everything.
Okay, all right, good job. So I remember I put three terms up on the board. What were they? One was a part like of a car, I guess you could say, a famous car, a brand car that's still around today. And then there's another term, and then there's another term explaining the expansion. So what do we got, Chris? What was that first term?
You looked at the rules of the higher class and
Yeah, the Volk, okay, the people's choice, right? I guess you could say it was like the higher class individuals, the Aryan race, the German society, the German citizens. Good.
then stuff.
Yeah, the Leute. Okay, so he described the Leute as undesirable people, right? These are the people that put Germany in this depression, right, into these hard times and problems at the end of World War One, and they were the people to blame for the Treaty of Versailles. And in order to try to have this Aryan race, to have this culture in Germany, to bring back this nationalism, they need to try to get rid of the Leute, right? Push them out of the German borders, okay, rid them from their culture, their society. And then what was that called? His expansion, right? He wants to try to expand the German borders and claim the lands that they lost at the end of World War One, and really just unite the people that were kind of divided at the end of World War One. If anything, they're creating more problems with the Treaty of Versailles by taking away some of their borders. What was that called? Do you remember? It's another term. It starts with an L. It means living space, expansion, some breathing room. No, I know I put it up. Chase, you know this, right? What is it? You know? Not Deloitte. We talked about that. Anybody? So in German, it means, well, it means living space. What's it called? He uses this as his foreign policy. It's like, oh, we need to claim these territories and lands that were stripped from us, that were taken from us at the end of World War One. It's not fair that the German-speaking people are all divided all throughout Europe. This makes no sense. And the Allied powers did this. We need to get these lands back. What was it called? What was it called? Anybody. Autumn, remember?
I have the word, I just don't know how to say it.
Oh, what is it? Just try it.
Blood.
Yeah, Lebensraum. Good job, Lebensraum. Okay, make sure you remember that, guys. Lebensraum. This means living space, the expansion of the German Empire, the German Reich.
How do you spell that?
Okay, let me write it up. Lebensraum. Lebensraum. There you go. All right, so once he's out of jail, then, what does he try to do? What does he try to do? So rather than trying to overthrow the Weimar Republic violently through protest and riot, he decides to do something different to try to take hold and control the government. Go ahead, Chris. All right, so what does he do, though? What does he do? So, yeah, his book's a bestseller. Everybody loves it. He has a huge popularity already once he comes out of jail. What does he do? So rather than overthrow it, run for what? It's democracy. What is it? He runs for president, right? Runs for president against Paul von Hindenburg, who was a German, right, a general in World War I, very respected by the people. Does he win the election? No, he doesn't. All right, he loses the election. But what does Hindenburg appoint him? Chancellor. Yeah, good job. Which is pretty much like the prime minister, the second in control, the leader of the government. All right. And then what happens to Hindenburg within a year? He dies. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He just dies. Oh, a little fishy there, I think, but no, he dies. So then, all right, how does Hitler gain full control of the government and all aspects of Germany? Go ahead, Jakari. The Führer, okay, but how does he do it? How does he label himself the supreme leader and everybody buys into it? How does he do it? There's something he blames on a group of people and some event happens. Ethan, you know? Oh, go ahead, Jakari. Okay, so all right, so that's a term here. Ethan, you know? There you go. Good job. So the Capitol building goes up in flames, all right? And we kind of resorted back that he actually did it himself. Well, maybe not him, but some of his followers, right? So the Capitol building, which is called the Reichstag, burns up in flames. And everybody around Germany sees this Reichstag, this Capitol building, the beacon of hope to pull Germany out of this depression, is up in flames. It's on fire. It's destroying, okay? And he blames the Jews, right? He blames the communists for these issues. And the only way that Germany can rise out of the ashes and become a strong national power ever again, an international power, is if he becomes the supreme leader, right? Der Führer, right? So make sure you remember that term as well, because that will probably be on the quiz. So he makes himself the supreme leader, and he has full control. All right. Is there any questions on that? So again, that's how he kind of convinced the people to push him as a supreme leader. The Reichstag, the government's falling apart. It's burning up in flames. Democracy hasn't been working for the German people through this depression. So the only way to get out of this depression in these hard times is if he becomes supreme leader. And everybody buys into it. It's like, you know what? They've been living these hard times, hard life with the bread lines, the soup kitchens, the shanty towns that were created all throughout Germany. There's constant anarchy on the streets with people trying to overthrow the government. And finally, he's trying to bring order. Okay? All right. Any questions? You guys good with that? All right. Moving on today. I only have one term for you. That's it. One vocab term. That's what we're just going to talk about today. All right, so you already have the 2 terms above it, but I can't zoom any more. So here they are. Here they are. All right, Hitler Youth, right there. Hitler Youth. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about propaganda as well, but you already had that term. That was in World War I. Okay, but the same thing's going to be used here in World War II, especially by these dictators. Especially by these dictators. All right, I think that's enough time. So Hitler Youth, what do we have? What do we got? Lentz, what do you got, buddy?
It was a program that Hitler ran that pretty much like make the mountains of the future.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job. So the Hitler Youth was just an organization, really, that was targeting the youth in Germany. All right, there's another program as well for the women, the girls. It's called the League of German Girls. Very similar to what the Hitler Youth was for the boys. Okay, but Hitler knew the only way to try to contain or try to sustain this German Reich, this Nazi party, and his beliefs, his ideology, his theories, okay, is to target the youth. Right? The best way to try to really have full control moving forward with your regime is targeting the youth, targeting the programs and creating programs where you can almost brainwash these individuals to really hold and really keep these ideologies, these theories, and move them forward in the future. Okay, and the Hitler Youth was really just an organization that had different types of race science, which we're going to talk about today, which were targeting these different types of groups, ethnic groups, and different cultures, all within Germany, and focusing them as the people that they need to push out of the German culture to make sure that there's a sustainable German society, right? An Aryan race. Okay, so they stereotype different groups, okay, and try to focus on them to really just pick apart them from the Leute, right? The Volk from the Leute. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. And then they obviously had different types of organizations that showed individuals, young men in Germany, how to fight, how to use weapons, okay, how to live on their own out in the elements. Because in warfare, they'll have to know how to do that. So it was almost like training, like a Boy Scouts in a way for training, okay? Living out on your own, setting up camps, setting objectives, scheduling, okay? And then maybe just coming up with different ways of living on your own. So fishing, hunting, okay? And then eventually with warfare, using different types of grenades, rifles, you name it, right? Just preparing the youth and the individuals for warfare, almost making war machines, okay? And they would do different types of practices to try to almost dehumanize their enemy. So targeting different things that maybe a kid would have resentment towards and try to rid that from their mind so that when they are on the battlefield, there's really no mercy, I guess you could say. Okay, no mercy, no prisoners, right? All right, so that's the Hitler Youth. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail today, and obviously with your reading. And I have a video to show you. It's pretty cool. There's a movie that they made not too long ago, and I'd like you guys to check it out if you haven't already. Where are we at? Well, I don't have a slide for it, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so with the Hitler Youth, let me just bring up the title slide. That's what I'll do. So with the Hitler Youth, they wanted to try to, again, target the individuals, the youth in Germany, so that they can keep this long-sustaining Reich, right? Keep the ideology of Nazi Germany and make sure that it's promoting forward in the right direction under Hitler's views. And the first thing he does is obviously target propaganda, media centers, to make sure that people only have one viewpoint, okay? Any type of opposition, political opposition, is taken away. And it's really just Nazi ideology, right? If any opposition was formed, they were pushed out of society, right? There's no way that they could have any type of political say in Germany at that time. All right, so here's some pictures of Hitler Youth. Obviously, these children would almost view Hitler, well, they did, as a god, as someone that they looked up to, as they desired. He was almost, like I mentioned, like a god, okay? So they wanted to do everything right by Hitler, okay? It was to a point, which this movie trailer I'll show you, is they viewed him as like an imaginary friend, like he's looking over their shoulder at all times. So whether it's just making their bed in the morning, brushing their teeth, or going out and performing these different types of objectives and scheduling, that they do it right by Hitler. Okay, everybody they see walking down the street, they give a salute and say Heil Hitler. Right? That's what they do. It's indoctrinated into their mind. Okay, it's almost like a brainwash for them to accept these ideologies and these principles and these beliefs. And the use of that was by propaganda. And Hitler appointed Joseph Goebbels to really try to target these people in the media, magazines, newspapers. It was constantly thrown in their face about how good the Nazi beliefs were, the politics, and how Hitler was such a great leader in their minds. That's why they targeted. And for many German citizens, all right, the Depression was over in a matter of years. These people had jobs again. They were going out to restaurants, going out to sports entertainment centers, right? And that's kind of how everybody just formed his popularity. It's like, you know what? Yeah, he's promising things to us and giving those things to us. So that's kind of why they went with it. Here's another picture of it. Germany. So you can see in the background all these people, women, children, younger people. They're pretty much all smiling, having a good time, and saluting Hitler because they believe him as this god. And that's how media projected it. That's how they believed it. That's the only centers of viewership that they had. That child there is probably pumped up. Here's another example. So these children in school saluting Hitler as he walks by, and like I mentioned, they viewed him larger than life. Okay, it's almost like your greatest sports star, athlete, or movie star, right? That's kind of how they viewed him, like LeBron James or something like that, walking down the street. I don't know, Chris, who you really who your idol is. John Cena, right? Yeah, there you go. John Cena, right, Chase?
Right.
Angel, who do you like? Oh, your favorite band, Nirvana or something, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, hopefully she's not sleeping back there. Other pictures here. So the Hitler Youth, like I said, they're kind of training to be individuals to work out in the forest, out in the environments, so that if ever wartime could happen, they were practiced and they have mastery of rifles and different types of weapons. Okay, hand-to-hand combat within these Hitler Youth organizations. So again, Hitler knew that the only way that this regime could continue to move on is if you target the youth, the younger generations. And they did that through propaganda, through these Hitler youth camps. Another thing was with race science, okay, race science. So in all schools, okay, education was something that Hitler really took as a priority. So all the teachers, all the educators all throughout Germany had to go through a set of principles and guidelines that if they didn't meet up to those guidelines, those standards, then they were fired. They were pushed out. Heck, even sometimes killed. Right? They're pushed out of Germany. If they were teaching these students any type of opposition or competition to the Nazi ideology, they were even killed in some cases. So yeah, teachers actually had to take tests and constantly overseen by the government to make sure that they are teaching the youth, the generation below, the proper Nazi ideology. Okay, if not, again, they're pushed out, they're killed. And the way they did that was they targeted different types of races, ethnicities, cultures, especially Jewish people. All right, so as you can see here, they came up with these different instruments to measure people's noses. All right, that's a stereotype of many people in Jewish culture, that they have larger noses. And to try to rid that from Germany, they targeted by measuring people's noses and really targeting these people by stereotyping them to the youth, to the younger generations. As you can see here, here's pictures of some of these kids in school, and the teachers teaching them pretty much about different nose shapes, how Jewish people were viewed as devilish, as they were like almost demons, and that's really pushed into these individuals at a very young age, to a point after the war, which we'll talk about. It was hard for them to move on. Okay, here's another example, I guess you could say, if I could zoom in. All right, if I can zoom in here. So they're pointing out different features of the face and really just seeing how Aryan culture matches with these different stereotypes that they came up. And that's what race science is all about. So if you want to write that down, you can. Race science. All right, so that's the Hitler Youth. That's really what they're teaching in these different schools and educational centers. And it was to a point where there was no opposition. Nazi ideology, that was it. And race science and picking out the Aryan culture, the Volk, and separating them from the Lloyd. Okay? And we'll talk about it soon. I guess I should have put it on your vocab. I'm sorry. The Nuremberg laws. The Nuremberg laws. Nuremberg laws. Okay? And these laws were really stripping these Jewish citizens from their citizenship, right? Taking away their basic rights and pushing these German people to not have any type of relationships with the Jewish culture of different races, okay? People that don't have this Aryan culture, this German culture in their blood, they're pushed out of society. So if you marry, let's say, a Jewish person and you're of German descent, you could actually be thrown in jail and exiled and pushed out, in some cases, maybe even killed. So they really targeted these groups and gave them a Star of David on their jacket. Okay, so these yellow stars to make sure and indicate them, and on their identification card, so that they're not served in restaurants. They're not allowed in entertainment centers. Okay, that's the way they tried to push them out of their society at first. They weren't allowed to have any types of businesses. Okay, any types of restaurants. And that was the first comings of the Holocaust, right? That's how Hitler tried to push these people out of Germany at first. So get rid of their citizenship, no right to vote. Get rid of their way of life. They weren't allowed to have any types of businesses or restaurants. Okay, there's many different things that Hitler tried to do with these Nuremberg laws to divide these people from the Aryan race, dividing the Volk and the Lloyd. All right, is there any questions on that? You guys good? All right, I'll show you this trailer. It just came out a couple years ago. It was a pretty good movie. And